What specific outcomes would you hope to achieve through training in leadership and culture building?
What specific outcomes you said?
Yes.
Okay, so one, definitely a comfort, like just being comfortable. And that is inclusive of safety and non-judgment. Um, Safety, non-judgment, the comfort to allow whatever you offer, whatever you have, and the gifts, the talents, the skills, all of that. It can just be laid out there on the table. It doesn't have to be hidden anymore. Um, Due to that, then another outcome in when I say like holistic health that comes about is this, wow, I can really be myself. And what you were saying with the RAS system, then guess what? Like cortisol levels won't be as high, which means then it'll affect blood pressure, which then will affect, like, how they say about the heart attacks that tend to happen mostly on like Sundays or Mondays, as it's the beginning of work weeks.
Hmm.
But then like type 2, high cholesterol, right? Like all of these other quote unquote chronic conditions, they actually started somewhere. So, if people are spending a majority of their time and their energy into where they work and what they do, it's like it's seeing how there is this responsibility for the workplace to cultivate an area that it is so much more beyond like having health insurance like that. That's definitely a role, but it's more than that. It is just the physical environment, the
Hmm.
mental and emotional environment that's there to allow people to just be. And so if they are having this feeling of like, oh, I got to put on this mask. And there's this whole thing about code switching and all of that, that actually allocates a lot of energy, even internally. So mentally, it might seem like you're okay, right? Like, in all of that, but it'll start compounding and it'll show up as headaches, right? It'll show up as like body tension. And so then if we go back to what you were saying, even if the CEO and the bosses are just greedy and you're talking about money, imagine then the money that's being spent, because they're going to get these treatments that possibly if the culture had changed, they wouldn't have even had those symptoms in the first place. And then the lost productivity of having to go to these appointments and go get these tests and go get these imaging, right? Like all of that is a factor as well. So I see that when you can really look at the culture and how it is that you can create that, where in a way, um, so sometimes people, I think they think that, oh, if we can just do this mass, like we're going to scale, right? So they think of scaling in the sense of just to consumers or to your end user of your product or service, right? To the public. But they also do that within the companies. Like we just want to scale. What happens with that is that you're homogenizing your humans,
Hmm.
and that is going to be homogenizing to like one maybe two ways of seeing that these humans operate and that they are, and that it's not going to work. Like so I feel like there are ways that you could actually still in a way personalize and customize
Hmm.
the cultural environment while maintaining this overall like mission and vision, right?
Hmm.
And it's just that in the how, when it comes to the humans that are operating it, it's got its little tweaks here and there to fit them just as much as they're also fitting into the culture itself.
Hmm.
um so I could see that when it comes to the holistic health side. I can see that when it comes to the comfort of those that are all involved. I see products and services, the quality of those even improving because feel more invested in it, right? They really feel like they got some skin in the game because they're it's more purposeful, it's more meaningful, they're being listened to, their ideas are being added into the products and services, and outcome actually comes in the form of your improved customers experience.
Mm-hmm.
So now your customers and end users are also feeling the difference. They're like, man, I just love this. Like, and they're going to feel that energy. They're going to see the change. They're like, this company's on top of it. They're innovating all the time. Like they're listening to what we have going on. So you see that just from tweaking and having the culture change from within, it permeates out.
Yeah.
Right. So those are some of the outcomes that I see that would happen.
Now, when you have high homogeneity, when you make the group think, when you make duplicates of people, that just means they come up with the same stuff and are not really great at innovating. Here's the amazing statistic. Diversity, that is the groups who are diverse rather than specialized, outperformed the math geeks in math 90% of the time.
Wow.
So diversity beats specialization and expertise in groups 90% of the time, at least according to that specific study. But it really makes sense. It's like, my background is neuroscience and inventing and living in another country and stuff. Having that in a group and then having other things in a group, your experience, your diversity is a whole lot different than mine. Getting a whole bunch of diverse minds together, you have just a larger collection of different knowledge too. And that's what really drives things like innovation. Let's do the next question. I realize I'm going to go down a rabbit hole if I stay there too long. So, which is always fun, but they always take time. So the next one is,